Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Living the Bold Life interview series, where we're learning how to stand up for you and take bold action now. Today, we're talking with Alba Gomez. Alba is a personal brand and style coach, an expert in the science of image management. She mentors coaches and educates individuals and businesses on how to communicate in an articulate and professional manner, empowering them to project confidence and competence at all times. Welcome, Alba.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Heather.
Oh, it's so much fun to get to talk with you today. So start off by just letting us know about your journey to getting into where you are in your world today.
Oh, okay. That's a long one. So the short version of that is, I am Colombian, as you obviously all hear from my accent. So I am the youngest out of three sisters, and my two sisters are engineers. So when it came, and I'm much younger than them. So when the time came for me to go to decide what I was going to study, it was kind of like you have to be an engineer, casually put into my hands by my parents. So I did, and I graduated as an engineer and got a job as an engineer in Colombia. And I was always very successful with my positions, and I got to manager position at a very young age, and I was traveling, getting a great salary and all these things, but I was deeply disconnected from that line of business, and the money was great and the growth was great professionally, but I was not passionate about it. So it came a point in my life when I had an opportunity to come to Australia with who is now my ex-husband. We were dating at that time. We grew up learning English, but I never got to a level at which I could actually speak it. So he's like, why don't you come with me to Australia and you learn a little bit of English and we see what happens. Anyway, very long story short, I moved to Australia, we got married, and I've been here for 12 years now. And so when I came here, I was like starting from zero because I couldn't speak, and the Australian accent compared to the American I grew up hearing all my life was like, what are they saying? So I always describe coming to Australia like as if I had moved to another planet. So it was quite a challenging experience, and our relationship suffered a lot. And I went through probably the most difficult time in my life where I completely lost who I was because I couldn't communicate. I couldn't be the professional, successful woman. I was like a baby going back to school to learn the language. I didn't have any friends. We didn't have heaps of money, really, because when you bring your money from Colombia to Australia, that becomes like zero. Anyway, oh, wow. It was a very challenging experience, and it pretty damaged the core of who I was at that point. And I went through a huge depression. I lost who I was, and we ended up getting divorced, which didn't help at all. So anyway, it put me in a situation in which, okay, but on the side of that, I kept going in my journey. I learned English. I got recognized as an engineer in Australia. I work as an engineer in Australia. I hated working as an engineer again. Yeah. I went through the whole thing. Yeah. And it came to a place in my life where personally and professionally I was empty. And you know how life is, put some situations in place. I ended up going to a retreat in Bali, and I was fully inspired to make a big change for my life. That included resigning to my job as an engineer, wow. Which was a bold move because then again, I had a really good position, very successful, lots of learning, hated the job really. So I jumped and started my business. And the one thing I have always been very passionate about is, as a woman, just really pretty much always been with women, like really making the most out of who you are and how you look, and creating a presence and an image that creates success in your life. So growing up, I always was a very insecure little girl. I was bullied at school because I was too skinny. I had braces, the thickest of the glasses, and I didn't have a very good relationship with my parents. So I always had this feeling of being inappropriate. I had zero self-love, no confidence. So in who I was and how I looked. So since being a Latin woman and being surrounded by a culture that is obsessed by image, I started playing with makeup and clothes since I was very, very little. And I had this natural flair for it, and I started studying everything related to it since I was very little. So by the age 16, I was already a makeup artist. And I was super passionate about it. So I was always doing the makeup for my friends and family, taking them shopping for events. And in university, it started what I was doing my engineering degree. I started also exploring body language, and it became like a little bit more like a bigger umbrella under I was fascinated by it, but I was never going to do anything with it because I was just going to be an engineer until the last of my days.
Yeah.
However, when I was in that retreat in Bali, it came to me obvious that I wanted to work with something related to image, and Australia is probably much more open-minded for that. In Colombia, if I go and say I'm going to work with image, being an engineer, in fact, I did. My family was like, "Are you out of your mind?" So here I was able to jump in, and I started my business as an image consultant. I then got officially qualified. And the evolution of things was, as I said, I love body language, so I became, very highly educated in body language, and then there was a disconnection because, as I said before, I became very good at making the most out of how I looked. However, that lack of confidence and that lack of self-love was still like a huge gap. And the process of moving into Australia and going through a divorce and all that just even opened that gap much bigger. But then through running my business, I started to realize that my story was just showing me that for my personal experiences, is for me as a woman, it's all about you feeling confident and powerful and loving who you are and accepting who you are and your mistakes and your strengths and your weaknesses, all of it. And from that place is that you create an image and a presence that is fantastic and that actually has you living a fulfilled life, but has all you looking stylish, having like all the in and the outer. I always say it's like an inner transformation that just helps you just stand in a power of confidence and feeling beautiful, which to me, I truly believe that as women, we can all do with so much more confidence into who we are and how we look and how we actually treat ourselves. So my story was just, I guess, showing me how important for me was to just connect the in and the out of the visual and how we feel within ourselves. And that's the way I now run my business. It's all mindset, journey, and self-love. And then from that place, just showing fully, being visible, fully confident, and going for having it all.
Wow. That's a beautiful story. I love it. And it's so much what we're talking about in this of just, having the courage to step out of either what's expected, what's the norm, and go for the thing that you're passionate about. And that can be business and that can be of many other things. It's just, I love that, like, you had to take that bold step. You said, I quit my job, and just jumped in with your whole heart, it sounds like. I love
yes. It was, and it was hard because obviously I was still just few years into being in Australia, and I didn't even know how this country worked. And I always been just like an employee. It was like in my culture was like, you're gonna be an engineer and work for somebody else. So it took a lot of courage. But now looking back, it hasn't been easy, but it's been the best decision I've ever made. And I couldn't be any happier that I decided to follow my dreams and jumped into I always call it like jumping the cliff with nothing to hold me. And the opportunities and the people and the learnings have just shaped the woman I am today. And I feel now that I turned 40 this year, it's like, it took me 40 years, but I'm getting closer to actually living the life I was meant to live, not following the rules of my society, of what my sisters or my mom or my friends expected out of me or my ex-husband, just living it with my own rules.
Wow. Oh. I think that's so true about like this idea of having to jump. And this is what keeps people from not doing it, because jumping is so scary. But when we jumped and we've like got we got no ropes or parachute, we have to figure it out. So I feel like it sounds like you found your confidence as you're coming, you're like, coming down out of the sky.
Yeah, I did. I was not confident to jump, but I guess that's it, because I jumped, then I have to just make it happen, which I think is a great point you're making, because sometimes we get so stuck in the fear and then we don't take action. So we just get stuck in the old that is comfortable, even if we're unhappy.
Absolutely. And you did it. Well, so tell us a little bit more about when you're working with women, about like feeling empowered and confident and showing up fully in your life.
Yeah, well, so then my business is all about that. As I said, for I think it's the fact in which I was brought up and how I grew up with that lack of confidence, self-empowerment, and showing up fully for myself. And unfortunately, I guess I learned that from my mom. I deeply love my mom. We had a very interesting relationship that we're lucky to have just overcome. But I guess it was never modeled for me. Never modeled for me that I could be a confident woman, that I was empowered, that I could do and go for the life I wanted. So since I was very little, I had that truly deep desire into my heart that I was meant for something big. And it didn't mean I was going to be famous or anything like that. I meant that I felt that I was meant for growth. So I always say that to my clients. It's like, sometimes it's like, I don't feel confident. I doubt myself. I kind of feel that I have stepped out of my power. I'm just letting life happen. And we get into this autopilot, as I call it, in which we just go through life, going through the motions and waking up, doing whatever we have to do, going to sleep and feeling like life is just happening to us. So it's always a fact of realizing that it hasn't probably been modeled to us, that we can actually go for these dreams. And the other thing, as we mentioned before, is staying so comfortable in the fear, because as much as it's uncomfortable, it's known. And there's this thing that I absolutely love, is like, the more you get, the more fear you're feeling, the more your soul knows that what is behind that fear is going to actually be great for you. So in my personal experience, and as I said, with my clients who are women who are going, I don't know, to say it in, or women who are going to become a mom for the first time, or women who are going for a promotion or going from a managerial or CEO position that they're just scared dead to death really with what is coming up, is what happened if you actually get there, but what is to lose when you take a start in the fear? Absolutely nothing. So I guess it's sometimes just looking a little bit more into where are the fears coming from, and why are we not allowing ourselves to live a life that is in line with our true desires.
Oh, and I love how you said that the more the fear shows up, the bigger our soul just knows that we're in the right direction, actually.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. Oh, I'm just going to sit with that. Because I had never thought of fear that way before. I think it's such a different shift of, it feels a little less scary, I think.
Yeah, and I have been reading a lot about fear for different reasons in the last few months, as I have personally going in my life through such a beautiful time. Like, so many good things have happened to me. I got married again to my soulmate. He's absolutely fantastic. So many good things are happening. And what happened to me, and I just feel happy to share this openly, is most of my dreams that 7 years ago, when I decided to actually grab my life by the horns and say, this is my life, I'm going to make it happen for me, have become a reality. And it's surreal. It's so unbelievably, cannot believe I'm living this life. Yeah. And it's not that I wake up every day happy, because life just goes through ups and downs. But I mean, in terms of transforming, I started feeling this huge amount of fear of what comes next. So the reason I was reading these books is because, what is this fear about? And what I realized is there's two things. Is I am living a life that is much better than I ever thought it was possible. And thinking of something even better makes me feel like that's not for me. That's just, this is as big as it got. And then as I read through all these books, the message I'm getting is, okay, there's something really cool coming up for you. And it's so amazing and it's so great that my ego is just pulling me down to not letting me move forward, because it's, as you know how our ego works. It's like, oh, what else is there for you? You have it too good already. So I love that approach.
Anymore.
Yeah. So it's like, why would you like anything else? So then it's been amazing for me as a coach and as a mentor with the work I do with women, because that is absolutely my biggest passion, is, okay, this is what's happening at different moments in our life. The more we feel we're getting stuck into going for the promotion, or finding the relationship, or having the first baby, or buying your first house, or changing the habits of lack of confidence and lack of empowering yourself to go for your life, is because that is coming is so great that you are just trying to be pulled back. But if we just jump without thinking, and if we get into momentum and into action, in a way that is being brave to explore the desire, I think, is the first step. And second, just taking action and moving forward, even if it's a little and little step. That will really, I think the path will be always really, really, what is the word? Revealed for you.
Yes. Yeah. Getting into action. Well, so I'm curious about something you could teach everyone around how to be bold and visible right now, standing up in our power.
Yes, so working as a stylist and a personal brand expert, all I help my women is actually that, like step into that power and be able to see yourself for the woman you are. So everything starts in the inside. As I said, yes, we're gonna work on your body language. We're gonna get your image and the colors and the style and the hair and the makeup, and you're gonna be looking in a way that feels authentic to you, and you're gonna look gorgeous. But I think to start with, I guess it goes back to really understanding who you are. So I would say the first step will be to really knowing who you are. And then this question is so powerful yet so simple, is who are you when I take all your labels away? So if you're not the mom, the coach, the business owner, the sister, the friend, any of those things, what is the essence of who you are? And this process is really, really powerful because it really allows ourselves to see the essence and the greatest qualities that we have. And we spend so much time as women, and I can say this with a lot of conviction, we spend so much time beating ourselves up because of how we look and because of how we act, and we spend so little time appreciating who we are. So that is a process that takes us in a recognition of who we actually are as women, and actually making peace with the past and the mistakes we've made.
Mm-hmm. Any tips on how you do that?
So, well, the process, as I said, the process is comprehensive, but it's just a set of questions. But actually, if you start asking yourself every day, who are you, who are you, who are you, without the labels, the answer starts revealing. So it's kind of like including that as part of your rituals that you do every day. Bumping up and ramping up fully the self-love. So being very careful of how you talk to yourself when you look in the mirror. And I always say to my clients, it's like, I don't want you to stand in front of the mirror and go like, oh God, that wrinkle, the head, the top, I'm a little bit extra, bigger, more wrinkle, and criticizing our body. So being very aware of how we're talking to ourselves and moving from that place of lack of love to full love and appreciation for the woman we are inside and out. So it sounds very simple, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, I know, because I think we do get so stuck in the labels that to really make the effort to get underneath that is so powerful.
It is. And actually, as I said, obviously there is a process that I take my private clients to get to that answer quickly. But if I was going to say, asking who am I, I remember when I very first did this process and there was an empty piece of paper for half an hour. And I'm like, oh my God, I have been defining who I am just by my roles, my culture, my family, my ex-husband back then. Is like, there was nothing. And it was the questioning, staying in the questioning that brings that awareness. And as you do that questioning, you have to then shift your attention from criticizing and beating yourself up to, I love you, or, oh, you look really good today. And then that goes very linked to what I would share like as a third step is, what can you do today to feel beautiful? And for every single woman, it will be different. But is it going to be paying a little bit more of attention of how you're applying your makeup? Is it going to go from nude colors to bolder colors on your makeup? I don't know. Or from always wearing black to wearing a little bit of color? Or is it going to be exploring with accessories? So I truly believe in the power of looking good, because there's nothing more powerful for a woman than looking in the mirror and liking what we see. We change how we stand. We change our inner talk, and we change how we relate to people. So as I said, it's a whole process also to get women to look their best. But if we start making that effort, and I can just tell you, most of the time, my clients, one of the things I recommend is you do something for yourself that makes you feel beautiful every day. And a couple of my clients have chosen to say something out of 100, let's say 20, decided just to put on moisturizer, because that for them was already giving too much of their time to their own self-care. And the reports are always like, oh my God, I feel like a supermodel. My skin is so soft that I just feel so confident. And we don't realize how the simple things can make us so happy. And I always think of this. How do we feel when we go and get our hair done? How do we feel that day? It's like we smile at our reflections. So it's how can you do something every day that instead of going like, oh my God, I have a couple of extra kilos, or I just, how can you smile and do something that has that impact on how you feel?
Wow. Well, and I hear such a, like, I don't know, cyclical. It's like you started with where you have to go in to really start digging at that, to then you can start kind of looking at the external with some more positive, but then saying that kind of boosts the internal again.
Exactly.
And I just love that it starts in here, and then it's okay to be like, let's do our makeup and we do all these things, but then it goes back in again. I love the cycle of that.
Exactly. And that's what I just kind of love my approach, which I know it sounds really funny, but what I always say is, I started working just as an image consultant. I started working just on the image, and I love seeing how women kept changing and improving their levels of confidence. But then I was like, there's something missing. So actually, when we start looking at our confidence and and empowering ourselves from the inside out, but it also goes from the outside in, it's just beautiful. And that's how I've been able to just witness transformations at levels that I just get blown away. And as I said, I've seen it with my own life. Like when we keep working on the inside, but we work on our image, and then we keep working on how we see ourselves, but we work on our image. The levels of confidence become, and for me, confidence is everything. When we are confident, we can achieve anything we want, and we're going to be able to go for a life that we are meant to live. As I said, because I was successful professionally all my life, but I was empty inside completely. And it's taken for me to actually decide, be confident to believe I can have an amazing life, to actually start making the different changes in the different areas of my life. And that's what I always say to my clients. You don't even realize that when you stand tall and you communicate to people from that place of confidence, as a mom to your kids or to your husband, as a business owner to your clients, as an employee to your boss and colleagues, that will have massive ripples of effects in every other area. So
you're making me feel like I got, I like sitting I'm like, come on. Because like, you're so right. I mean, it doesn't matter how well someone can put themselves together on the outside. If you're feeling like no confidence, I can, you just shrink.
Yes.
And so it has to go. So I'm wondering a little bit about what you do on the days when you wake up and they're a little harder than the others.
Yes.
What are the hard days, and how do you pull yourself out of that?
Excellent. I love sharing this. And I am at the moment actually creating a little bit of a checklist for that, for the days when we don't feel so great. So following on what I was saying, as you can see, this is a combination of how we see, how we think, how we look, and also our body language, because our body language has a massive impact on. My approach with body language is more as how affects us more than how we affect people. So one of the greatest ways for me to lift myself up when I'm waking up, that is like nothing is gonna make it for me today to feel better. So music. So being a Latin woman, I absolutely love my music. So there's two sides to this that you can implement for yourself. So I can just put my Latin music and dance to it and be happy with it. If you're not like of a dancer type, what I love creating for a ritual in the morning is an affirmation that you dance to. So this is something I learned from a fantastic woman, an American coach, and she worked with Tony Robbins. Her name is Sunny. Her name is Sunny. So it's like using three adjectives of something you want to feel more of. So it can be vibrant, confident, beautiful, successful, empowered. You choose three words, and then you say, I am a blah, blah, blah woman. So what you do to that is to say something. I am a vibrant, sexy, beautiful woman, to say something, or confident. I'm a vibrant, sexy, confident woman. I'm a vibrant, and then you actually dance to the shower, or you do it as you shower. So as you dance, so you're using your mantras to actually get in that mood, and you move your body. Your brain is going to be able to take that in. So Dancing in a way of an affirmation, yes. And
I,
you feel silly. You can feel silly, but at the same time, it's actually powerful. So I always say music is one of those beautiful ways. Dancing, even if no one needs to see you, you can do it when you are in the shower on your own.
Yes, because then you can really practice embodying it too.
You are.
Back into the body of like, so you can be in your shower being like totally owning it, and then you get to walk out the door kind of holding it inside.
Exactly. And then you start at sometimes it's like when I'm feeling like this, it's like because our body shows the emotion, we are like blah, and then I'm like, yes, I'm a confident, beautiful to say something, rich woman. And then at the time, after a while, I'm like, and then I start feeling the confident, beautiful, rich woman to say something. And as you said, that is the most powerful thing. Is like I want you and everyone leaving the house or starting your day feeling on top of the world, because when you have that feeling, any task that you approach is going to be so much more in line with whatever you want from your life, as opposed to for us sitting in our desk or going to see a client or going to a meeting or going to take the kids to school feeling like blah. And that's why I said you put it in your body, then you pick your clothes with intention, because I want you to go into your wardrobe and be excited with what you're going to put on. Not just go and put clothes on and go like, whatever, I'm feeling fat, I'm looking ugly, I'm covering myself, because that's another thing that we do a lot with our clothes. We don't use them to express ourselves. We use them to cover or to hide or just to show how flat or plain we're feeling. Yeah. So start your day with that mantra, dancing to it, put your clothes with intention, and I can assure you, you're going to feel 20 times better. And from that position, go and kill your day and have fun with it.
Oh my gosh. I could just imagine if everybody just took those few minutes to do that, what a revolution we would have on our hands with, especially women walking out the door, just doing their thing.
And that you say probably is the biggest calling in my heart. And that's what I love so much what I do. And I am like on a mission of actually, and my group on Facebook is called the Wow Now Revolution. And that's why, because it's like, I want us women to like, I get so excited about this. Like there's so many studies that show how the only ones who are putting themselves down is us. So as women out there in the corporate world, in the business world, everywhere, we are the ones who are doubting ourselves. If we were able to start a day in which we were not going to do that to ourselves, I cannot just imagine what could happen, because I truly believe, I am not a feminist or not a feminist, but what I truly believe is like we're magical beings and we have so much to give, and we're so hard on ourselves that if we could shift that energy to a more confident, happy way of being, then the world would be just even an even amazing, happier place. And what will we be teaching to the generation to come, to our kids, and that's what I love about my work. When my clients say, I can't believe my daughter is doing this now because she's seeing me doing this, as opposed of, doubting themselves, recreating the same story. That is.
Oh, I'm so glad you just brought that little piece in, because just imagine again, so before you even get out the door, what your kids would see if you are, making their breakfast and getting their lunches together and just feeling proud. Especially, I'm glad you brought that piece in. That's great.
Because that is hard for me to see. For example, like in our culture, I do not like that of the part of our culture in which women are so hard on themselves. All Latin women to me look so amazing, and it's because there is an obsession with looking good. However, inside it's a very empty place to feel. So I see how my sister has modeled some behaviors to my niece, who is 10 years old. I don't have kids. So, and then I am like horrified to hear what my niece has to say. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then when I see with my friends as well, when these young kids are just thinking they need to look like a supermodel that they see in Hollywood on the newspapers, on, the magazines. And I'm like, oh my God, like if we continue like this, where is this going to end? As opposed to actually knowing that we are perfect, we are beautiful, we have so much good to offer, and how we look, yes, it's important. As I said, I enjoy it, but it's doing it your way. You can find a way that you show up being you, not following or having to look X or Y, Z.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I have people ask me all the time, like, how do I not pass these things on, to my daughter? And I'm like, then you have to be it. You have to be the thing you want them to be.
Exactly. Otherwise, as you know, like the only reason I know how to speak Spanish is because everyone was speaking around me. We model, we follow what we see. So if we see our mothers or our sisters or our friends thinking that we need to look X, Y, Z, or even in the corporate world, needing that we need to behave like a man to be successful, or that we need to copy X or Y person to be successful, then that is like part of my mission thing. Is like we need to connect to our essence and stay true to it, not just following the masses, because you're not going to stand out as an individual unless you are authentic and you're different. And being you is always going to be different because there's no one else like you. So it goes back to not realizing that by being us, but not being us, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and to our society.
Yes. You're so infectious. I love your energy. I'm ready to go now.
Good. Well, as I said, like, I truly believe in this work. I truly believe it because of my experience and the experience of working with hundreds of women in the last few years. And because I truly believe that, as you said, this is just a revolution in which women can be actually confident. And you know what is the other thing that I love about this is like confidence is a skill. This is not something that you are born with. And I can tell you, as I said, I had zero confidence in my life. And I have developed confidence in different areas at different levels. So we can develop it.
We can. Oh, thank you for saying that. Yeah, we can develop it for sure.
Yeah, because sometimes it's like, oh, I'm not confident. This is it, the end. We're going to be. No. Exactly.
Well, tell everybody about the free gift that you have for them.
Excellent. Yes. So I have, and it's so simple, but then again, don't ever be fooled by the simplicity of things. So you're gonna be sent into a page in which you're gonna be able to download a 15-minute video and a workbook. Okay. In this 15-minute video, I'm gonna give you like the introduction and all the topics, and then this workbook is a set of questions. And these questions are the questions I give to my personal, to my private clients when I work with them, and they are going to bring so much awareness as to where are those areas in which you can do with a little bit more of confidence. So simple questions. I want you to, then again, I'm going to be taking all your roles and the way you act in life day to day, so you can go to the core of your essence. And then I'm going to take you into questions that lead into the body language and to the image and to the style. So we're going to be going 10 levels deeper that we went today, to actually have that beautiful awareness of, okay, I am neglecting myself in X or Y area, or I haven't seen the link between these two areas. So as I said, very simple, yet super powerful to actually keep digging into what are those areas in which you can start transforming to step into a place of confidence and self-love.
Oh, I love it. What a beautiful gift. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
You take advantage, everybody.
Yes. Do. It's free and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I mean, look how much fun this has been. So, anything else? Thank you so much, Alba, for being with us today. I really have enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having it. It's been great talking to everyone. And if one thing, as I said before, is make a decision that you're going to be more loving towards yourself, and that you're going to do anything that is within your power today, leave the house or start your day from a place of confidence and follow those simple tips that I shared today, and I can assure you they can transform your life.
Thank you. I love that. Make the decision, everyone. Just
it's a decision.
Yeah. All right. We'll be back for more big interviews tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Bye.